Good evening and welcome to News 10 on My Fox 10. Last week's deadly shooting of an Indianapolis police officer is a painful reminder to officers in uniform everywhere. A reminder that domestic calls are among the most dangerous emergency a policeman or woman can respond to. News 10's Brent Frazier joins me now with some insight from local law enforcement who have a tragic tale eerily similar to Officer Rod Bradway's. Brent?
Patrice, you might assume that officers are far more threatened by the call of an armed robbery or a murder scene, for example. But calls of a couple fighting at home far outweigh the risks of those scenarios. And in Vigo County anyway, sheriff's deputies answer domestic calls every shift of every day. Last week's deadly shooting of Officer Rod Bradway shocked the city, saddened the policeman's family and friends, but his fellow men and women in uniform were likely none too surprised by the outcome.
We consider domestic violence calls one of the most dangerous type calls that we respond to.
Vigo County has its own deadly domestic incident on record, and a sheriff's deputy who didn't go home that night.
Sergeant Kevin Arts, July 1st, 1987.
26 years after that officer-involved shooting made headlines.
2 people, one of them a sheriff's deputy, have been killed.
And a deputy died on the job.
I'm told he had a gunshot wound to the lower neck on his right side.
Domestic violence calls haven't diminished. The danger's only grown more threatening, while officers and deputies have been forced to conform their tactical response around an always unpredictable aggressor inside the home. Chief Deputy Clark Cottom says protocol for Vigo County is at least 2 deputies respond, 3 if possible.
We have better radio communications. We have better communications with our dispatchers. Our dispatchers now are trained to ask key questions.
Sergeant Arts is the face of the ever-growing danger attached to domestic calls. His plaque in the sheriff's lobby reminds all of his sacrifice, while a stretch of road in Terre Haute near Arts' boyhood home also pays homage to the officer. His memory also a constant reminder of a volatile, potentially violent emergency call policemen and women will always have to face. Chief Deputy Clark Cottom did not personally know Officer Rod Bradway, though the fallen 41-year-old did have ties to Terre Haute. Officer Bradway attended ISU and was a member of the Pi Lambda Phi fraternity. Patrice.
All right, thank you, Brent.